56 minutes. Everybody on Facebook. Facebook flagged me last week for playing 58 minutes of somebody else's song. And due to that, they blocked my whole broadcast, my video, and everything. So I've had to start different times on Facebook, along with, of course, Vibe Time with Geri. So uh, I apologize for any delays if people are trying to tune in. And of course, it would go straight to friends instead of where I need it to be, which is public. So I'm going to fix that so that way I can see everybody's comments. If anybody wants to post a comment in the link, I would appreciate it. That way I know that I can see you. So, hi, David Flowers. Okay, yay! I have just a couple of announcements because I have John and Anita Savage that are my special guests tonight. I'm glad that Anita was able to get off of work. Hi, Maggie, on time to be able to come on the show along with John Savage. So, anyhow, March the 4th, we still have a couple tickets left. David Flowers and I have like a couple of tickets left to the March 4th Paranormal 101 class that we're going to be doing at the Manor House in Williamsburg, Virginia. And that class is going to be, it's going to start at 7:00 p.m. Okay. But what's neat about this is that this is what's included in that. It's $50, but he's got 3 tickets left. So we've got a protection kit that I've put together for that class, and dowsing rods. That's what you get with that class. Okay. So David Flowers is going to be kind of teaching the do's and the don'ts of certain stuff when it comes to paranormal investigations. And I'm going to be doing the metaphysical side of that, which is really cool. And then, of course, after class, you get to investigate. So that's why it's such a good deal, because like, where else are you going to be able to investigate with equipment included? You don't even have to bring your own equipment. You get your own protection kit, and then you get dowsing rods. I mean, and David Flowers and his wife, let me get mine. I only have one because the other one fell as I was moving my little bed. But anyway, they're very colorful and they're really nice dowsing rods, and they just move really nicely. I like how they move when you're working with them. I got to get the other one. It fell to the opposite side when I went to go lift my other rod up. But anyway, it's going to be a really good class. So if you're interested in it, we still have the 3 tickets left. Just message me or message David Flowers. He's the one handling the ticket into that, and get your tickets. 3 seats left this Friday. Let's see, March 12th, the Cabin on 360 is going to be doing their event. It's going to be for Alzheimer's, for the Alzheimer's Association. They're doing a fundraiser. The doors open up at 6:00. Those tickets are $25. All that money goes to Alzheimer's. So, the Alzheimer's Association is what they're doing their very first event for. So that is a fundraiser. So please, if you're able to get to that, I'll be at that event as well. And then, of course, any other events, just go to John Stevens Virginia Paranormal Events page, or his website, www.virginiaparanormalevents.com. And, of course, he's on the 3rd Tuesday of every month. So anyway, without further ado, I have John and Anita patiently holding the line. And I met them at an investigation that DC put on at an undisclosed location. That's how I met them. And we just connected very quickly. And we've been friends ever since. So we have investigated the undisclosed location together. That's how I met Maggie Dunn. She's in the news feed too. Wonderful person. I can't wait to have you on my show too. We got to schedule a date for that. She is awesome also. But that's how I met her, and that's how I met them. So I'm going to put them on, take them off of mute. I'll be right with y'all. Let's see. Hello? Can y'all hear me?
Hello,
hello. Hi. Hello. Thanks for coming on my show.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate y'all. And I want to, the first things that come to mind is, when I think about y'all is where you've investigated at, because John, I know that you recently changed your name on your Facebook page, not your actual name, but your actual group name. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit for me?
Well, originally the name of the group I had was Virginia, Minnesota Paranormal, which was going to be an offshoot of my original group back in Minnesota, which was called Minnesota Paranormal Investigators, which is the longest running paranormal group in the state of Minnesota. But I've been running into some problems with it because we have a town in Minnesota called Virginia. So everybody thought I was located in Virginia, Minnesota.
Okay.
So I decided just to change it to my very new name, which is Middle Eastern Atlantic Paranormal Investigators.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering where you got that name from.
Well, I was just looking at the geolocations of the East Coast, and we're kind of in the middle of the eastern part of the East Coast.
Gotcha.
So that's how I came up with it.
That's really cool, though. So now you and Anita.
Another group just for Fort Monroe and Phoebus, and that should be up and running in the next week.
That's going to be cool because I know Kimberly Moxley Ashbury is interested in like investigations at Fort Monroe. She's really cool. She does a lot of research, but we do our research at Old House Woods, and she has the Old House Woods Facebook page. But she's interested in Fort Monroe, and quite frankly, so am I. I think it's pretty cool that y'all are out there.
Well, anytime, come on out, and we can do some outdoor investigations.
Yes, and it's starting to warm up, so it's perfect.
Yep.
So I'll have to hold you to that because I can stay at my mommy's and come over because Fort Monroe is not too far from her house.
Oh, you can even just stay here at the fort with us.
Yeah, or I can stay at the fort with y'all. Yeah, crash out on the couch.
Well, we do have a ghost in our unit, so.
Oh, this is perfect. Yeah, we'll have to plan this. When Anita's like has a day off or something, I'll have to plan that. Because my museum hours actually the museum that I work at, my hours there actually have been cut. So now I have a little bit more leeway on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
So this works out.
Anytime you want to come out, or your friend wants to come out, I can give them the personal paranormal tour, because everything that we're investigating is going to be in the book that we're writing about the hauntings of Fort Monroe and Phoebus.
That's cool. That is so cool.
We're going to try and debunk a couple of stories, and we also found a couple of new stories of possible hauntings at the fort.
That's awesome.
Investigated.
That's awesome. I bet you there's a lot that goes on there.
Oh yes, inside the fort. People will see shadows of soldiers, people walking around wearing Victorian type clothes up along the ramparts, kids running around, and right outside the fort, when you come into Fort Monroe,
mm-hmm.
from the bridge to the main gate used to be contraband campsites for the free slaves during the Civil War. So we have a little hospital that's literally outside of our front door where Harriet Tubman worked as a nurse.
Oh, wow.
During the Civil War.
Oh, my goodness.
And we're investigating that location. We have a couple encampments down the street, which are no longer there, but there's been sightings of people walking around and running. There's been sightings of slaves along the fort.
That's so neat. because I mean, when I went to Fort Monroe, I've been on Fort Monroe, but it was still as a military base when I went on.
Well,
So
I mean, the history of the fort. I mean, it goes back, 300-400 years. And I mean, ironically, the fort itself was built by slaves, and there's been a lot of deaths from the slaves, and they're buried out here somewhere along the shoreline. And we're actually investigating to find the original cemetery of Fort Monroe.
huh. So it has an original cemetery then.
Yes, we found some documentations, and looking at the old maps from like the 1840, I believe, or 35, there is a location for the cemetery. And one of the documentations I found was there would have been up to probably 5,000 to 10,000 grave sites. Now, in saying that, that cemetery supposedly has been moved to Phoebus and also over towards the VA hospital. But I've got a feeling that they didn't remove all the bodies.
Okay.
And we're going to try and find out where it's located and do an investigation there to see if there's anything, hanging around.
Do you have anything? Do you based on your research, do you have an idea of where they might be?
We have a vague location.
Gotcha. Because I was
according to the maps and some of the paperwork, it was on the eastern part of the fort, going towards Buck Road, and it would have been a group of heavily grouped trees along the sand dunes, and that's where it would have been.
Have you tried to douse in that area?
Not yet. It's just been a little too cold and too windy.
Yeah.
But you will be, when we're doing our investigations, we are straight open to the elements. So we get that nice breeze off the bay, and that can affect the dowsing rods and EVP sessions and things of that nature. So,
right.
It's going to take us a while to actually locate it if we can.
Right. David Flowers asked, have you ever seen any spirit animals around the pet cemetery?
I personally haven't seen anything. We've heard, some animals in that general area, but then again, we do have wild animals inside the fort. But I've never gotten anything up along the ramparts where the pet cemetery is located.
Cool. Anita, what is your, have you experienced ever seeing any, pets at the pet cemetery, animal spirits?
No, not so much around there. I've seen lots of other spirits around the fort, but not specifically there.
I see, because I know that you're like one of the most detailed people when it comes to abilities that I have ever met.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, for real, I'm just, I have abilities and I see spirit, I can communicate with spirit, but yours is so, I'm just amazed by it. I'm mesmerized by how detailed you are. It's really awesome.
I just like to give a voice to the past.
Yeah, it's really cool. Now,
a good team.
I know y'all really do. I mean, now are you ever going to work on a book, Anita, about your experiences, or is it just the primary focus like Fort Monroe?
Right now, I really don't know. Let's work on the Fort Monroe book and then see where it leads us.
Yeah, I think you'll be doing a future book besides that one.
I'm sure there'll be something.
Yeah, definitely. I see it in the cards. They don't lie.
What can I
Yeah, David Flower said he was amazed that you amazed him the night that we were in the basement at the manor house. And that just was really amazing. Yeah, Maggie done the same thing when we did the investigation together. You two blew me away. She blew me away. Yeah,
Well, you know what that means? It means we've all got to get together again and investigate somewhere else.
we really do. Fort Monroe would be perfect. I mean, Maggie Dunn, I'm sure, would drive down from where she's at. That would be really
Oh, yeah.
cool.
You just give me a little bit of heads up, and I'll make the time off.
Okay, we can do that.
The only downside about Fort Monroe is a lot of the buildings are either occupied by residents or they're off limits because a lot of them are falling down.
Right.
Major black mold, especially in the older buildings inside the fort. Some of the old barracks, they're just locked up because it costs too much money to rehab them. And there's not an interest from the public to rent out these buildings.
That's too bad because Fort Monroe is like when my mom would dance, she would dance there. They had a club there. I don't even know if they still do anything like that on there, but there was a club there that was on the water that we went to on the weekends.
Oh, yeah, that's the officers' club, yeah.
Yeah, so we would go there and her friend played live music and so I've always liked Fort Monroe. I've always been attracted to it. I don't know why, but it's just a beautiful place to me.
Well, what we're hoping to do is, especially with our book, is to bring the history back to life, back to the fort. We want people to be aware of it because since we've been here, we found out that people drive past this fort daily, especially on the HRBT, and they don't even know it exists.
Right.
And we want to bring that history to the public, at least through the haunting side. And we've been in talks with the Fort Monroe authorities, and right now we're just waiting for either a yes or a no.
Right.
To start investigating inside the buildings. But our goal is to bring that history back to life.
Yeah.
Give the voice of the past a voice for the future.
Yeah, because I mean, it was a fun place.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully bring some awareness to the fort that would help bring funds in to rehab a lot of the old buildings.
Yeah. Who owns that? I mean, who does it belong to now? Because I don't know.
Well, it's kind of weird how it's set up. There's bits and pieces that's owned by the National Park Service. Other half of it is owned by the state of Virginia, because when the post shut down, it was turned over to the state.
Oh.
So right now, it's kind of like, you can walk inside the fort, and you'll be on, Fort Monroe Authority, which is the state of Virginia's property. Then you can walk, to another building like Quarters 1, which is one of the oldest buildings in the fort, and that's owned by the Park Service.
Gotcha.
So there's a lot of different agencies that has their hands inside the fort, and it just makes it a mess.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know Yorktown was like that. There were like when they were letting the battlefields on Yorktown, they would get really bad overgrown. And I went to the Park Service and I was like, who's in charge of maintaining the battlefields? And the guy at the desk was like, the state of Virginia is part of this estate and part of it is the Park Service, and we're not in charge of maintaining certain parts of the battlefields because it don't belong to us. And I'm sitting over here going, gosh, I remember as a child, these things used to be nice and groomed and pretty, and they just let stuff go.
Yep, it's all politics.
Yeah, they just let it go. Like, how do you not want to preserve true history and just, mess it up like that? Just because, you don't want to take the funds to clean them up and mow the grass.
Yeah, see, that's the difference between here in the States when it comes to history and the history over in England.
I bet. I bet. I bet it's a whole different thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And we've investigated many places in the UK. Anita used to run tours out of London for haunted tours. So we've been all over the place.
Right. Well, Anita, how long have you been investigating and doing tours?
Well, stateside, I've been over here for 14 years.
Yep.
But I've been doing paranormal stuff my entire life. I was running tours in London. I did quite a lot of places that no one else was allowed in at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun. It was fun. A lot of hard work, but it was fun.
I think one of my friends is from London. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask her. I'll have to look her up and ask her where exactly she's from. She's fun. She's a butthead, though.
In a good way or not so good?
I call her Twat Waffle. She's fine. She's funny. You would like her, though. Y'all would hit it off pretty well. But I can't remember what part of England she's from. She'll probably kill me for that one because she talks about it all the time. But I know that she's going back. I want to say at some point this summer, 87 days is when she's going back. So.
I was meant to go back the year before last, but then of course COVID hit, so that put a kibosh on it. So I'll get back eventually.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's a beautiful place to be. I would love to go there.
Oh yeah, I mean the places to investigate in the UK. I mean, it puts what we have to shame. I mean, some of the places that we investigated was let's see, Borstal Hall, the Ram's Inn, which is a 13th century house built on a pagan cemetery, and it sits on top of 4 ley lines. The Halls of Justice up in, help me, Anita, where's the Halls of Justice?
Nottingham.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
And of course, Bulbrook Castle. Yeah, and Bulbrook Castle, which was the hunting lodge of Henry VIII.
Clink Prison Museum.
The Clink, yep.
Yep.
I'm sure they got a lot of places that compare. I mean, we got a lot of places here, but there's just something about, places like England, Germany, all those places with all the castles that we just don't really have here.
Yeah, I mean, with the investigations in the UK, I mean, you have to approach it from a different point of view. I mean, you have to do a lot of research into it. And, you're looking at records, like the 1600s and the 1400s. And, and then you have to kind of do your investigations around that time period. Those spirits don't know what an EVP recorder is.
Right.
So you have to use terminology to the best of your ability to show them how to communicate. And sometimes for reenactment, you got to dress up in silly outfits and play silly music and talk about, what was happening in that time period that you're investigating.
You're absolutely right.
You have to, research if you're doing something in the Tudor years about the War of the Roses.
You're right, because a lot of people don't do that. Like I wanted to get like a 17th century doll for the manor house. I wanted to get one like made, or a replica of one. to take with me when I go there, because I think that since there's children there, it would be the perfect trigger toy, the perfect trigger doll for that.
Oh yeah. Well, the Manor House has lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were there with you and David, there's so much going on that it's amazing. And I think that, if anyone's interested in doing a paranormal tour, that would be the place to go to get your feet wet.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a very interesting place, and we talk about it all the time, that just because they don't always set off equipment doesn't mean they're not there. You know, and I stress that all the time.
I mean, just because you have a device that lights up and makes color lights and noises doesn't mean it's designed to interact with the paranormal. Again, this is where, learning about the paranormal, the history of the paranormal, comes into play. Back in the day, we had just dowsing rods, tape recorders, a flashlight, and 35 millimeter film.
Right.
We didn't have anything with, EMF meters or REM pods or tripwires or anything like that.
Right. So sometimes just the basic equipment is really the best thing.
Yep, and the best equipment that a person can have is their intuition.
Right.
If you're walking through a location and you start getting that pull in your stomach, or the hair raises on your arm or in the back of your neck, that's telling you there is something there.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can't really measure it, but...
Right. You're right about that, and a lot of people don't pay attention to that. You're right about that. I think that's some of the stuff we'll be touching on Friday with the Paranormal 101 class that we plan to do on the metaphysical side about, grounding and things like that, because people just go on things and they don't think to do that, or they don't know how to do that. And to me, it opens them wide open for stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen people in investigations where they would have all their gear set up, nothing happens, but if they go into a door, go into a room and touch the door handle, all of a sudden, they trigger something.
Yeah, that happened to me one time.
Development with psychometry.
Yeah.
And it's like, there you go, run off with the information off of that.
Yeah, that happened to me. I was doing a private home investigation, and I had a K2 meter with me, and nothing was going off at the time with the K2 meter. And I got into one particular room, it was a bathroom, and I opened the door, and I didn't even feel anything or sense anything at that time. But as soon as I put the K2 meter on this one part of the room, the whole room began to smoke up like it was on fire, like I was taking a shower, even though I wasn't. The mirrors began to fog up. The covered the door. She had like a medicine cabinet there. The door just slammed out of nowhere. I started to get really, really cold, as if something, was passing through me, in and out me. It was really bad. And it caught me off guard. I was grounded, but it just caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to see what I see, and I wasn't the only one there witnessing it. There was two other people at the time witnessing it too, so it wasn't just me. And I just kept saying the Lord's Prayer, because that's all I knew to say. And it was weird, because it was just like it was on TV. That particular room just was dark, and when the spirit left, the whole room just came to life, like got really, really bright, as if that spirit left, because people were staying in this house and they didn't stay for a long period of time. They kept moving out and moving out and moving out, and the owners wanted to know why. So, and there was a dog that was with us at the time, and the dog was growling and going stir crazy. But as soon as the light lifted in that particular room, the dog went in there and laid down and, just laid down. And the owner was like, she's never done that before. She's never done anything like that because she was always afraid to go in that particular room. But once everything was lifted, the dog was fine. Needless to say, it died 2 days later, unfortunately. And I think that I track it back to that incident because that dog was fine and they had no explanation for why that dog passed away.
See, back in our old group in Minnesota, I have one team member by the name of Kim who has a beautiful pit bull. I mean, this pit bull thinks it's human, but we would take Diesel, that's the name of the dog, on investigations with us.
Yeah.
To see if he could sense an entity. And there are times when we would get a positive hit, and we would set up our equipment, and we would get unusual EMF readings, EVPs, and some photo anomalies. So again, that's another tool that we have available to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Using an animal. And
animals are very intuitive.
Yeah, I was going to say they're 10 times more intuitive than we are. I think they sense way more than we do. Pets are your best answer for paranormal.
In our own home now, we have our animals will let us know when there is things around.
Right. Right. I mean, that makes sense. They're very in tuned. Hi, Ryan. Maggie Dunn said that Maggie Dunn said, good, check a live for Waverly Hills at 8:30. So she had to go do something with Waverly Hills. But she said that she wants to go to the Manor House too. And she's interested in coming out to Fort Monroe. And her bucket list is Scotland.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool places there.
Yeah, and my girlfriend is from Plymouth, Devon.
I know of it.
Yeah, near Cornwall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had to ask Kim Slater where she was from because it was bugging me.
No, I spent a lot of my childhood in Cornwall. So.
Yeah. Yeah, she won't come. She only came to one paranormal investigation with me, and that was at the Manor House. She met me up there because she's scared to do stuff like that.
You see, and that's our job as investigators, to educate and to remove that fear.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, she's scared of stuff like that. Now, that particular night when she was at the Manor House, she was fine. Because I just told her certain things that she needed to do, but she had brought Liz and Liz's husband and Kim came up there. So, they're always fun to be with. I can't imagine taking her there. But yeah, she's a really nice lady. Y'all would get along very well. You have the same accents. It's perfect.
Yeah, we're infected.
Yeah, she don't take no shit either. Kim Slater. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going on fire.
Yes. Yeah, but you're right. It is our job to educate people to take that fear out. Because it's research and.
I mean, there is just so much misinformation out there, and yes, it can be fun. Yes, it can be educational. Yes, you can learn a lot of cool stuff, but it can be dangerous too if you're not smart about it.
Right.
That's what people need to be more aware of.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what are some suggestions from y'all, from people that
I tell people, well, what I do is I tell people, don't pick a fight with something that you can't see, because you will lose every time.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of people out there, they're taking their cues from a of these TV shows,
Mm-hmm.
thinking that's how you do an investigation. You know, I'm not going to name any shows in particular, Ghost Ventures, who portray the wrong way of doing an investigation.
Right. That's true. Because, I mean, people expect...
even I won't pick a fight.
Yeah. I haven't seen you do that, though. I like your trigger stuff that you use.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between setting up trigger objects or trigger event versus going in and being totally disrespectful.
Right. Of
Going
course.
into a house saying, show me who you are. You know, you think you're big and bad, you know, come and get me. No, you don't do things like that.
Right. I've seen people do that. I went on an investigation. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name. Edgewood, I think it was, where I was at, and there were people doing stuff like that. They were saying, take all my energy. You can use all my energy for everything. Here, come into me. And I'm like, gosh, you don't really want to do that. You don't want to do something like that because, it's just nothing to play around with when it comes to stuff like that. And I just wasn't used to seeing people do that. Because I need to preserve my energy. I don't want something taken mine.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've seen that happen on a couple of tours, and that's why I kind of don't do tours anymore, is because of people doing things like that. And it's like, you don't understand, if you put the intent out there or the invitation, hey, come and take my energy.
Yeah.
You just wrote a blank check to whatever's out there. You don't know if it's a entity that's earthbound or an entity that's never been in a human form, and you just gave it permission to take your energy.
Right. And it will. That's the funny thing. Hi, Angie.
Yeah, it will.
It will. That's, just like...
Why?
Go ahead.
And they wonder why, God, why do I feel so sick and so drained, and why do I have scratches on me?
Right.
Or why did my personality change? Well, because you're a dum-dum and you said, hey, go ahead,
Right.
do what you want to me.
Right. Which is a no-no in my book.
For a few minutes of excitement.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I
tell people like that, if you want to be scared, go to Disneyland and take the haunted house tour, because that's what you're looking for.
Right. I haven't been to Disney to see that, but I can imagine. Yeah.
or what's the haunted one up here?
Busch Gardens.
Yeah, Busch Gardens. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got to be very careful with it. Yeah, one of my friends, Angie.
I mean, this is something you don't mess around with.
Yeah. One of my friends, Angie, put this is the one thing that worries her the most about a tour. But like, for instance, at the Manor House, I'm going to tell you right now, David Flowers, he's not going to allow anything like that to happen. He does not allow people to taunt spirit out there. Cabin on 360 and the woods and places like that, they don't allow that there. And I'm sure at Fort Monroe, when you do your stuff, you don't.
I've had tours where I have kicked people out.
Yeah, I was going to say you probably didn't allow it on your tours either. And, it is unfortunate that, and we've discussed it before, that there are so many TV shows out there and people think that that is the way that you're supposed to do things. And it's not. Behind the scenes, we're listening to several hours of EVP and watching DVRs, and, we don't freak out and get over dramatized when we, are seeing a piece of equipment going off, but they need all that stuff for their ratings. And as Kimberly says, half of that stuff is fake anyway, because they know how to do it,
Exactly.
She's not on here tonight. I don't think. I haven't seen her pop up yet, but she's very adamant about that. That most of that stuff, there's answers for all the smoke and mirrors, as she puts it. And, that is the purpose of David Flowers, and the class that we're teaching is the right way and the do's and the don'ts, of, and I'm just going to say the ghost hunting part because you do paranormal research, I do paranormal research, and I know people argue with me about this all the time. There is a difference between a person that ghost hunts and a person that does paranormal research. It's two different things. It's not the same thing to me.
You're correct.
I mean, we can have a location, and we can research it for months, sometimes years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that you go in and it's 2 seconds and you have every single answer and every single thing happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I like going back to where I'm going. Like when I go to the manor house or even the cabin, there are reasons. And Old House Woods, there are 3 primary places that I like to be. And those are the 3 primary places because I have notebooks on all of them, all 3 locations. So every time I go there, I'm pulling up, stuff from my books, for that purpose to see, what am I getting? What theories do I need to run at Old House Woods? Because Kim and I have a lot of theories that we are working on together out there. And we started some theories for the Manor House. So that's what we do.
And that's what a research investigator is.
Yeah.
Versus someone who wants to ghost hunt. And I wouldn't even say ghost hunting. I think they're just more looky-loos. They just want to experience something to say, hey, I saw something.
Right.
So, and then you've got your para-entertainers. And those are the ones that, I'm trying to do it delicately. Not these shows hosts, that's a whole different realm of egotistic people, but I'm talking about there's groups out there that will do a ghost tour with 30 people.
Yeah.
You cannot do an investigation with 30 people.
No.
And then that comes, you're just bringing people in just to make money and you're letting them loose with no guidelines, And most of these people really shouldn't be on these tours.
Right.
There might be something mentally wrong with them. And you could be opening that up, to them to be affected in a bad way.
Right. I agree with you on that. And I think like our class, David, the class that we're given is capped at 10. We don't take any more than 10 for our class. Now when David does his regular tours, that's different. But like for our Paranormal 101 class, we made a decision that we was going to cap it at 10 and that's it and we're going to run other classes other than this one. Because I think that 10 is a pretty fair number. It's starting to warm up and, you're teaching people and it's better. Like the smaller groups to me are better.
Yeah. And we had an open policy with my old group back in Minnesota where if anyone wanted to learn or experience a haunting, they would come with us. And we would limit to maybe 2-3 people max, besides my crew, just because of safety concerns and, it's going to be time away from doing our actual research.
Right.
To teaching. So, we would do things like that, but it was more, like I said, more of a training.
Right.
We have nothing to hide as researchers.
Right.
And we tell people, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get anything on the first couple tries.
Right.
If you're doing data logging, it at least for me, I look for a pattern over a minimum of 30 days for baseline readings.
Gotcha.
So I have something to compare to. Unlike a lot of groups, they'll go into a house for the first time going, yep, this house is haunted. Okay, what are you basing your theory off of?
Right.
Well, I think it's haunted because I feel it, or I got an audio. Well, can you explain it?
That's right. I mean, I agree with you on that because I've been into a couple locations, private homes, where they thought that there was activity in there, and there was nothing there. There's just nothing there. It's, you know, there's not. It wasn't paranormal.
Well, I mean, I've seen cases where the clients will swear up and down, my house is haunted. And this is where research and interviewing comes into play.
Yeah.
After interviewing the family over and over, we found out that one, they were into horror movies and sci-fi shows and the paranormal, things of that nature. So they began to believe, again, this is where intent comes into play, that their house was haunted. So they were manifesting a haunting from themselves.
Right.
There was nothing there. And there was no intelligent haunting. There was no residue haunting. It was nothing, but they would conjure it up.
Yeah.
From their own mind, their own intuition. And it's like, okay, well, this is why you're having these things. I mean, this family had like a full-size animatronic of Freddy Krueger in the basement.
Oh, wow. But you know what? You're right with that. The mind is a powerful thing, and I don't think people realize just how powerful their minds really are.
I mean, I told people in investigations, did you wish really, really, really hard for your house to be haunted?
Yeah, no. I don't.
So,
Hi, Maggie. Yeah, my girlfriend said she's sensitive, so she's a little worried. She'd be all right.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with being.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being sensitive.
I
mean, there's techniques and grounding and protection that you can use. I mean, there are times when, if I'm especially at a certain house here at Fort Monroe, all my shields go up.
Yeah.
And even I will get nervous going up to this one house. And I've been doing this forever and a day for over 32 years. And when I have to back away from a location, it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that is bad if I know that you got to back up. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Don't tell me which house it is if we're allowed to go there, because I don't want to know.
Oh,
I won't tell you.
That one a secret from you.
Yes, keep it a secret, because I would like to just feel my way around.
Believe with that one, you'll definitely feel it.
I'm sure I will.
When you come down, we won't tell you boo about the fort. We'll just walk up to it, and I'm just going to look at you and go, use your intuition, and I'll follow you.
Yeah, we can do that. Because you know what? The only thing with Fort Monroe is, the only thing I can tell you with Fort Monroe is my mom, they danced there. We went to the club there. I would walk the beach there. I we would go there and we would leave, you know what I mean? But I would stay on the beach. I would go sit out on the water for a little while, but to actually go around and look around and know the history, I really don't. So it's perfect.
Well, there's a lot of history.
Yeah.
I'll definitely tell you that.
Yeah. Angie is saying that hotel out there. Yeah. She just went there and danced. We ate at the buffet, and like I said, I would hit the little beach outside and we would leave. I knew it as a military base, before it got taken over by the state, or, before they shut it down. That's what I knew it as. And we just went there, and, that was it. So
Fort Monroe is our paranormal laboratory.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I know David Flower stresses, knowing your history before you go to a location, but I really I will have to say that I don't do the research on the locations because I want to get my feel for that before I want to get my own feel for
Mhm.
that. I don't want it to be hindered by um what I don't want to conjure up anything in my head is what I'm trying to say. That's why I don't read the history about stuff before I go. I don't want to know.
Right. And that's how, Anita and I work. That's why we work as a good team. Is if we're going to do a location, I won't tell her about it.
Mm-hmm.
I might say, hey, we're going up to Coal Harbor Battlefield,
Right.
and that's it. And sometimes I don't even tell her where we're going. We just go to a place,
Yeah.
and I already have the
It's just
information.
a matter
So,
of not having not been here my entire life. I don't know the history. I've not got any of that knowledge to pull on. So,
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Maggie said she likes to do it blind too. Yeah. And Angie, she's been out to Fort Monroe several times as a base. I'm assuming that's
Mhm.
where we went. But like I said, I go in. Maggie said it the right way, blind on a lot of stuff because I want to get the feelings for myself because I think that when you listen to other people or you're reading things, you can manifest stuff within and create something that's not really so. It's you and not the place. So that's why I like to do it
Exactly.
blind. I don't want to know.
And that's kind of hard to do when you're with an investigative group. And what we used to do is we would have our paranormal group, and then we would have our medium separate.
Yeah.
And the only time they would interact with my crew is when we're doing the reveal. This is what they picked up, and we take their information and overlay it with our database.
Right.
Or our baseline information.
Right.
And then we start intermixing. Okay, let's do a mediumship on this side. Let's see if they can make contact. Let's document, changes in the environment. But also, we have the knowledge to either confirm or sometimes deny the information they're getting. And sometimes the information we have is not the whole story.
Right.
There are gaps in that data, in the history. So we have to kind of try and mesh it the best we can or change the story to have it more accurately with the information we're getting from the medium versus from the folklore side. So, I mean, you have to work with the mediumship, but also, like you said, they need to go in blind and not be, or they have to go in blind so they don't see what we're doing.
Right.
When they do their walkthroughs, at least my group, none of my crew's there. We don't have anything set up because even if you have an EVP recorder or a EMF recorder set up in the room, that could skew their information because now they're thinking, hey, look, there's a EMF meter here, so there might be something in this room.
Right. Right. And see, that's why I used to go into places and I still do blind. And I started using equipment because I wanted to validate what I was feeling at that time because I am a member of Crop, but I pretty much do things on my own. I'm like Maggie. I'm on my own with certain stuff or I'm with Kimberly. So, we got about 4 minutes.
I tell people, just because you're with a group, doesn't mean you're tied into that group. Go
Right.
off and learn on your own if you have to.
Right.
Reach out to other investigators. Hey, what has worked for you?
Right.
What doesn't work for you?
Right.
What equipment do you have that you think it was worthless? But unfortunately here, and I know we got a short time, but unfortunately here on the East Coast, that doesn't happen. So a lot of the investigators are just wandering around, not knowing what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. But that's why I'm glad, that I've met people like you. I've met people like Anita, David Flowers, Dennis, Maggie, DC. There's just and so far I have a good group of people, that I know that if I need somebody to listen to something, I know I can send it to you and say, "Hey, can you listen to this? Can you clean this up for me?" Same thing with David Flowers, and you can't do that with everybody because some people just they don't want nothing to do with you. They're trying to get in the spotlight, so they just kind of push you away. And I've met people in the field like that already. I won't name names, but I'm watching you.
Yeah, we've come across quite a few.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate.
But at the same time, I don't have all the answers. Yeah, like I said, I've been doing this for 32, 33 years. I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still learning new techniques from other people, and that's how we advance our field of the paranormal research.
right. Right, you're right. It's just, like I said, I'm just glad that I've got y'all, and people that I mentioned. It's just you can't do that with everybody, and it's unfortunate. And I don't know everything either, I mean, I'm learning something new every single day. I learn something new. I find something new to learn every day. I make it a point.
Yep, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to in this field.
Yeah.
You have
So
to wear many hats.
yes. Yep. You're right about that. So, but yeah, Maggie agrees with that. And I think that the team that we had at that undisclosed location was a really good put together team too.
Yes, it was.
I think that everybody was very professional in what they did, and it was just well put together. So I would do that again.
Yes. Oh, so would I.
In a flash. Yeah, because I think the people the people you meet, I think that just makes a big difference with stuff.
Yeah, as long as you can work with each other.
Yeah.
And it's okay to fight and then have disagreements, and that's how you learn.
Right, that's
right.
right.
I'm not going to agree, but we're all adults, and we can, take our lumps with the best of them.
Yeah, we can agree to disagree. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, I
agree that you agree.
I appreciate you guys coming on. I gotta get ready to end my episode because I've got Ryan coming on with FPI Paranormal. I don't quite know where they're based out of, but that is going to be his episode. And I don't want to cut into his airtime. But
thank you for having us.
yes, well,
we're always around.
yes, I know you are, and I think I want to do a part 2 to the show, so I'll look up some dates if y'all are game with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's perfect. So I'll look into my calendar and see what dates I can pull up for Vibe Time. But I appreciate y'all, and I'll be reaching out to you here shortly.
Alrighty.
All right, well, y'all have a great night. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Night. I hate when I have to end my episode, but let me see. We continue. Now we'll put Ryan on. I'm still on StreamYard, but I have to get off of Blog Talk. So, but anyway, I know I'm excited. I'm really excited about, we're going to have to do a part 2 because what I didn't tell them was that, when I'm coming back to Newport News. So I didn't tell them that part, which I'm going to have to reach out to them and let them know when I'm coming back. But that would be cool just to be able to go to Fort Monroe and, do an investigation out there. So, but anyway, thanks Angie for tuning in. I'm excited about what's going to become of that. I do want to do a part two. I am excited about the Manor House on Friday. That's going to be really cool. Yeah, you know what? A round table is a good idea, and I agree with you. And you and I can talk about that. And you want to go with me? Okay, we can make these arrangements. Yeah, yeah, I'll let you know on 4 because like I said, that's John and Anita's. So yeah, we'll have to plan a date on that because I know that you would come here for that. But Friday is going to be really cool. Friday we're going to have a good time because like I said, David Flowers is going to go um he's going to go over do's and don'ts with certain things. I mean, hell, he does have his book. It's still, my God, I hate when I'm like stuck and I can't reach something. My goodness. He does have, I can't reach what I'm trying to reach with his book. I'll fall if I try to get it. It's under my notebook on this other table. But anyway, he has recently came out with a book that I'm sure he'll have at class. Um, that's going to be really exciting on Friday. So we're going to have a blast with the class. But I would like to do a round table, but I want certain people at the round table, if that makes sense. Like Maggie could be on the round table, and David, you could be on the round table, and um oh cool. He just got his new shipment in. And a book is sitting right where the second dowsing rod is that I can't reach because if I try to reach it, I'm gonna fall, and I can't afford to fall because I already got my neck and my back that hurt already. So this is not gonna work. So accident. Yeah, you can be at the kids' table. So, like, it could be you, it could be John, it could be Maggie. Um, we could like just put together a little table. Dennis, if he wants to come on the table, that would be kind of cool. And just do like a little round table discussion about the paranormal. So we'll have to talk about this somehow. And maybe I can arrange it where like maybe Ryan won't be on one night or something. No offense, Ryan, but I know he's not watching the show right now because he's on his own. But we could try to make arrangements where we could have like a 2 hour block of um round table discussion because I do it on his show all the time. Like, let me give you my upcoming people coming on because I've already got everything pegged. Um, Michaela Stanley, she does photography, but not only does she, I'm not going to forget you, not only does she do photography, she done research at Old House Woods on 8th, 16th, Stevens. The 22nd is actually open mic night. So we'll probably be some cards. David Spinks will be coming on the 28th, or excuse me, the 29th of March. And I'm not going to about you because tomorrow I have clients all day. So I will be putting together, Anita, your stuff tomorrow that we talked about, my bottle. So I'll get that together because I'm going to message you when I'll be in Newport News. So you'll know it's very soon, like Sunday. I'll be there for a few days. In April, I've got Chris Garcia coming on, but it's going to be, I think, a 2 hour block because we're going to do Chris Garcia medium. He's going to be coming on Vibe Time April 5th, but he's going to be on my show and um he's also going to be on Ryan's show. Yeah, on the roller bottles, just let me know what you want because I've made some ones that like evil eye to ward off evil eye. I've made a prosperity one. I have the fiery wall of protection one. I have a chakra balancing one, but I also do custom rollers based off of, I freaked somebody out earlier and I didn't mean to, and I'll get back to my schedule, but I have to go into almost meditative. It is a meditative mindset when I'm doing these, and I get different messages on what I need to use, if that makes sense to people. I freaked somebody out and they decided that they didn't want to get one when I said meditation, but y- for those of you who do energy work, or even Anita, I know that you and Maggie, I know y'all can relate to me on this. You have to be in a certain mindset when you're doing stuff like this. You don't just pull stuff out of the sky and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. It's not like that. Um, yeah, but this lady just totally didn't want a roller bottle based on the fact that I have to, be in that mindset even when I'm doing distant Reiki and healing on people. I'm in a mindset. I'm not even here. That's why I make people record everything when I'm doing my sessions, because I'm not in that mindset. If you turn around and try to ask me what we talked about, I'm not going to be able to tell you, because I'm on a different plane when I'm doing the type of work that I do. So, and I know Anita is too. And Maggie, you're sensitive and can communicate too. You're in a whole different, you're not in the same plane, you're somewhere else. So that's what I say, custom roller bottles. It's custom to what is coming, what messages are coming out to that, because a lot of times I'm showing people's colors and stones that need to be put in there, crystals that should be put in there. And so just let me know, do you want one that's already made, or do you want one that is custom to you, because you'll have your own recipe, if that makes sense. It's your own formula that I write down, and it'll always be your own formula. So when you run out, you just keep the roller bottle, if you live local. I mean, if you're out of state, of course I got to send you a new one, but um it's based off of that, and it's custom, and it's your own little recipe, if that makes sense. And it's all based on what is coming to me when I'm doing my energy work. So that's what I'm going to be doing for Anita. For some of her issues going on, there are some certain things that I have already written down that I know need to go in there. So, but there is one particular stone that I can't put in there because it'll poison the whole thing. So, um, malachite, I will say, is really, really good. If you're in a lot of pain, it like sucks up pain. Like you can take a malachite. Yeah, we're on a different level of consciousness, but you could take a malachite stone and you can tape it to wherever that area is. I know my girlfriend, I gave her one of my malachite stones because she was in pain, and it turned it black because it was getting taken out all that inflammation. So malachite is really good for that, for pain. And there's one other stone, but malachite is the one that steps out the most. But I don't want to put that, I would never put that in a actual blend. I would have to send that type of stone separately, because I wouldn't want to put it in an actual blend, because they're toxic. You can't drink those as elixir or anything. But anyway, let me get back to this before I get sidetracked and forget. All right, so April 5th, we got, I think it's a double header. I think it's Chris Garcia on my show and on the freaking awesome paranormal show. And then the following week, the 12th, April 12th, is going to be, it's going to be more like a round table of spiritual talk, but it's going to be myself, Holly Mullins, and Ryan Jones. So, and if people have questions with that, or they want to tune in there, they can do that. And then of course April 19th is going to be John Stevens, because we always talk about our paranormal events that go on. And then the 26th of April, I have a young lady, her name is Tamara McMeechan. She does voiceovers, really cool voiceovers with characters. It is so awesome. But not only does she do that, she also does readings, and she does she's a tarot reader, and she's been doing it since she was in her teens. Um and she does them over the phone. She has done stuff in person. She does like parties. She'll come to your house and set up stuff where you can do like a whole group. It's really cool. She'll be coming on my show on the 26th. So I'm looking forward to her being on the show. So that's my lineup. And then I guess I'll be looking into May, but I didn't want to push things out too far for vibe time on in May. But as it gets closer, we'll do that. So, but anyway, you guys, if you know of anybody that, wants to attend class on the 4th, please let myself or David Flowers know. Like I said, we're going to have a good time with this class. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be our last class, but we're going to be planning on doing another class. It's just that this class that we have right now is scheduled for the 4th, and we're going to have a blast. So anyway, I appreciate everybody tuning in to Vibe Time. I appreciate my sister. She can't be on the internet, unfortunately. But she is an avid caller on my show every week, and sometimes I forget to give her credit for coming on. I don't mean to, because I'm looking at all the comments in the feed. So, um, you know, yeah. Um, our class is going to start at 7 Friday, and it's going to end at 2 a.m. because with that class comes an investigation. And like I said, it's a steal, it's $50. And it really is a steal for what you get, because you're getting dowsing rods, you're getting a protection kit that I have put together. And so I'll be doing Savannah did. Yeah, I'll be doing the metaphysical side of that, because it's important that people understand to ground, to prepare yourselves. And with my Reiki and the work that I do here and the clients that I see, that is what I teach people, because people are they're beginning to be more in tune with themselves. And I think COVID, yes, COVID, ripped apart a lot of stuff for people, but it actually forced them to be at home and slow down. So with them having to be at home and slow down, it also got them more in tuned to themselves, and they were able to quiet themselves to where they're more, um, to where they've become more in tuned. And when that happens, they don't know what to do with it. Or like in your case, being sensitive, there's nothing wrong with being sensitive, but you just have to learn how to ground and protect yourself. And that's where like this class comes in. Or like when people come to me for Reiki, they're not just coming to me for Reiki. I have people that come to me that I'm teaching how they can enhance what they have and how to accept what they have. Because when I was going through the things that I went through in the beginning with, being able to communicate with spirit and just being able to read people and things like that, I didn't have that support factor in the beginning. And once I tripped on a step in Urbana at Katie Bugs, that is what opened the door for everything. And I finally had a mentor. But I'm going to tell you, for the longest time, I was alone with this, because I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to turn to. And I just felt like I was alone. I didn't know that there were other people out there like me. And I was ready to go to Eastern State. And I remember telling my girlfriend, you just might as well lock me up there, because it was like spirits coming everywhere, and they just would not leave me alone. And so finally I learned how to accept that, and I learned how to protect me. And now, if I don't want a spirit around me, I know people are always saying, um, oh, I would love to have that. Well, no, not when you're trying to sleep and somebody pokes a finger in your back and wakes you up, you don't. Or when you're trying to sleep, and you wake up and you see a person standing beside your bed, how do deal with that? And a lot of times with these apparitions that stand there, they're not see-through apparitions for me. They're solid. I can see them, and it's scary. So, people want that, but when you do stuff like that, you have to take all of it that comes with that, the good and the bad, because people are always like, "Oh, I want what you have." Do you? because it's something that, you deal with every single day. It don't just shut down. I have learned to put shields up and block certain things out. Yeah, Don, I understand that. I mean, and you're not alone. Like I said, I have a lot of clients that come to me for Reiki, and that's where I do a lot of my teachings at, because you're going to be in your classroom setting, and we'll go over the metaphysical side of things. But Reiki is a whole different level, because you're doing energy work on people, and your body talks. When you're doing that type of energy work, and it tells me, you know, I can feel everything. So like, if you don't trust me, I'll know that. If you got a little wall up, I'm gonna know that. Um, if you got girl issues, I'm gonna know that. It's amazing. So no, you're not alone. Mm-mm. You just have to learn how to enhance things and taper it, and all the answers are always right here, right up there. And I tell people that constantly. If you close your eyes and you take your little eyes and you push them up here, and it'll take sometimes 10 minutes, but if you keep it focused right there, you'd be surprised, on what you see in there. Everything's up here. Your future, spirit, how you communicate with them, past lives, future events, all of it. And that's what I mean when I told John Savage that the mind is a powerful thing, and people don't realize how powerful it is. And energy transfer, yep, I've done that. And that is where that's where you have to learn to cut cords with people. And that was something that I did not do. And it made me tired, and I got sick. And so that's why I'm adamant on taking salt baths. And that is why I'm adamant on cutting cords. And I will sit there and cut them. And people look at me like I'm, like, what the hell is she doing? You cannot, like, when I'm doing energy work, you have to let go of the outcome of everything. Because if you don't let go of the outcome and you take on that person's stuff, you're going to be drained and tired. And that's how I know. This is how I know when I didn't ground the way I was supposed to, is when I get tired. Or, people talk about paranormal hangovers. That's not, and I hope, Maggie, don't get offended by what I'm saying, because, I mean, sometimes people, I've learned on a personal level that when you're not grounding and you don't cut cords, that's where those hangovers come from. That's just my personal opinion, though. I think that's where they come from, because when I ground, when I say my prayers, I ground, and people do things different ways. And I Reiki myself too, and take salt baths. I found that I don't have that hangover anymore that I used to get, um, when I was doing investigations. So yeah, so energy transfer is that'll knock you on your feet. I've been on the couch for days with energy transfer, so I know. You know, wish I could sit here and Reiki my neck and reach my back. I guess I try to Reiki myself through my heart chakra. Yeah, physical vampire, so that I can, hit that back injury, because that what is it called? Soft muscle injuries are horrible. And so I'm hoping that this stuff will get put back in alignment soon, because I hate having to go to a chiropractor every week. No offense, but I just don't, before my car accident, I didn't have any issues like that. And it just sucks. So yeah, yep, physical vampires. So anyway, Don, I look forward to seeing you. And Angie, hopefully you'll be able to come, to the class if you can make it. So, and I don't have a problem teaching people. Like I said, most of the time it's through Reiki, honestly. Yeah, whiplash. It's really funny, because when we got into this accident, it was in Newport News a couple weeks ago. I didn't post it on Facebook. I just didn't feel like it. But anyway, we were involved in this young lady rear-ended us on J. Clyde Morris. And yeah, please do. Psychic vampires, yeah. But anyway, after when I guess when they were there, when the ambulance people, not ambulance people, but fire people were there, I think my adrenaline was up so high. So I didn't, at that time, I didn't feel anything because my adrenaline was up. I'm thinking about my mom. That was the most important thing. The young lady, I acknowledged her in her car. I felt so bad for her because she kept saying, "I'm sorry." And I was in shock because, I have never been in a car accident a day in my life. I have not been in any car accidents. I'm 51 years old, never been in an accident ever. And so that just threw me. It shocked me. I was in shock. And I was more worried about my mom than myself. I didn't care about me. I cared about my mom. That was the most important thing to me. Um, I didn't even check to see if the other girl was okay. I know that she was crying and that kind of stuff, but I was just so pissed off. So anyway, I didn't start feeling things until like an hour after the accident, about an hour or so, this started hurting back here on the left side, and then my back hurt, my elbow hurt, everything just hurt. And yeah, I didn't do any type of MRI or anything. I went to my doctor a couple days later, and he referred me to chiropractic care. And so far that's helping, but I can't sleep on my right side because of it. I can't. I'm not able to do it because if I try to, this pain back in the neck, it's like a nerve there or something that got pulled because I remember just being, jolted back, and it just sucked. It really sucked. And I don't ever want to experience that ever again. I'm just grateful that, I wasn't hospitalized or something like that because I think it could have been a lot worse. She hit us really, really hard. Like we were at a stop when she hit us. So, but I'm just glad that it didn't lead into anything more serious and that I'm able to sit here. Yeah. Yeah, I am too. I mean, I hate the fact that I got to take time out of my schedule every week to go get an adjustment done, but I love Doc. He's a good chiropractor and I know that he's going to take care of it, but I'm just going to him for now. So, you know, thank you. I need a blessing. Yeah. So, yeah, I think somebody was really watching over us, including the young lady behind us that initially when I got out the car, I did call her the B word, but I think it was more out of shock. I It was terrible. So, I'm living with that little comment I made that I really shouldn't have said anything about, but I was just so shocked. So, and it was my mom's car that made it even worse. So, my mom was like, you got rear-ended in my car, and I'm like, I did. So, it was terrible, and I don't wanna experience it again. But anyway, you guys, I have got to get up at the crack of dawn, so I appreciate you tuning in. Angie, if you can make it, please, try to come out there if you're able to make it, and if not, we will, you're so cute, Maggie. You're so cute. Oh my God. I was looking at my messages real quick because wasn't sure. I'm going to have to look at these. That's awesome. I don't have people pull cards for me so too often. That's really nice. I appreciate that because I sure do need that. But anyway, if you can make it out there, yeah, there's still a security gate. Oh, David Flowers, that was something that we forgot to tell people when they go through the security gate. Just tell them you're going to the manor house. Glad you said that because we're going to have to tell people that. David, put that out there if you're still on. I will read this when I get off, but I appreciate that. That's really sweet of you. anyway, you guys, thanks for tuning in. Next week, like I said, is Michaela. I always want to say Michelina. It's not. It's Michaela Stanley, photographer / Old House Woods, that I'll be talking to. Oh, okay. David Flowers says security knows people were coming. So yeah, Angie, if you can, um, if you can make it, please do. I mean, I'm sure that people are going to be a couple minutes late coming to this class. I mean, we know the deal, right, David? It never fails, honestly. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. So we know. All right. Well, I will see you guys later. I appreciate you tuning in. Y'all have a great night. And I'm going to go put some heat on my neck and my back and hope I can sleep. Yes, there's always somebody fashionably late. You're right about that. That's very true. So, all right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm wondering where Steve White is. I guess he didn't make it on my show tonight. I don't see him anywhere. I'm going back through my feeds. So, Steve White, let me know where you're at. He's my booking agent. So, got to figure out where he went. All right, you guys. We'll talk roller bottles, Maggie, and see what you want to do. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. See y'all next week. Well, actually, I'll be on Crossroads too, Thursday night, 9:00, because I co-host that show with Jody Nettles and Teresa Sayers. But y'all just can't see it on my feed because you have to go to Jody Nettles' page in order to see it public. So I'm on that too. So anyway, you guys have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you and I appreciate all the support. David Flowers, I'll talk to you sometime on Thursday. You want me to surprise you? I can do that. I will do that. I can do that. No problem. And y'all have a great night. Thank you.